Surveillance is and always will be a political question. Who gets to look over your information? What do they get to do with it? Why are they looking at it? Surveillance is inherently about power. Now, when that someone doing the surveillance is the state, it becomes at its very core a question about the individual's relationship with the state, and that by definition is a political question. And when we think about this issue, perhaps old metaphors come to mind. For example, the classic imagery of George Orwell's 1984, in which we imagine a big brother, cruel, indifferent, arbitrary, powerful, and through surveillance, controlling the moment of every individual's life, turning them into fearful, small, disconnected, lonely beings. But this historical image of the relationship, the risks of surveillance, doesn't quite work in modern day society. And there's two reasons why. First of all, in some ways we desire and need the big brother to look over us. There are legitimate reasons for surveillance. There are security threats which require surveillance. This is accepted. So the image of big brother becomes slightly reworked. It's got a level of consent. In some ways we do need an element of surveillance. Secondly, unlike the very fearful individuals that were leading small lives because they knew they were being watched, our lives are often large and performative. We are performing like never before on the internet. And indeed, in some ways and in some situations, we ourselves are using the internet to document and promote surveillance of the state itself, to record human rights concerns and political concerns. So the difficulty, therefore, is working out how in the 21st century, in the context of cybersecurity, metadata, extraterritoriality, which is surveillance beyond borders, how do we frame the politics of this question? What are our metaphors? What are we looking for if the old analogies don't quite fit? This section of the course will look to reports from the United Nations on surveillance and international human rights. The purpose of looking at these reports is to enable us to think about metadata and surveillance, to give language and concepts from international law that can assist in understanding how surveillance, in particular of metadata, affects our relationship with the state. The political element is what gives urgency to the inquiry. I want to consider very briefly two quotes illustrating the politics in surveillance. Firstly, Ben Emmerson QC, who is the current Special Rapporteur on the promotion and protection of human rights and fundamental freedoms while countering terrorism, reported to the General Assembly on counterterrorism and mass digital surveillance and metadata. In that report, he stated that, and I'm quoting, "The international community needs to squarely confront this revolution in our collective understanding of the relationship between the individual and the state." We also see this same idea of politics in the General Assembly resolutions where the right to privacy in digital age was concerned, affirming that privacy leads to protecting rights which are, quote, one of the foundations of a democratic society. This course will be exploring the language, ideas and concepts in international law for squarely confronting this challenge in the collective relationship between the individual and the state.